Understand that we're not just here to get them to the point of viability where they shouldn't be able to do an abortion in that particular state and then we're out. No, we're there to walk with you as long as you're willing to walk with us.
Hey, thanks for joining us here in Philadelphia, and we are so excited to have a special feature here of an answer to prayer. A man who lived his entire life for the pro-life movement and on his deathbed wished for a pro-life OB/GYN. And sure enough, the next day, she arrives, and we get to meet her today and tell her story and how she's making an incredible impact, not just in Philadelphia, but around the great nation, and how she is impacting the pro-life community for the better.
In the pro-life community, I'm a pro-life OB/GYN. I own my own practice, Natural Women's Health, which is like a holistic gynecology and infertility practice. We use holistic medicine, meaning that we're using natural family planning methods, Crichton, fertility care, and NAPR technology included, in order to serve women. And then my other hat that I play kind of in the community is that of just a pro-life advocate. I do abortion pill reversal.
What is abortion pill reversal?
So abortion pill reversal is actually really amazing, and it is completely based on science. When a woman's pregnancy is at risk, oftentimes it's due to a lack of progesterone. And so in the same way, during their pregnancies, we would give them progesterone to try and sustain the life of that child. With abortion pill reversal, the RU486 pill, the way that it works is it cuts off the progesterone to the baby. So it prevents the baby from being able to get progesterone. And what we do is we give that mom an abundance of progesterone at that time to bump that basically off of the receptors and allow the baby to receive progesterone so that it can survive. And then over time, that RU486 is flushed out of the mom's body and the baby can continue to survive. So there's two pills that are used in abortions. So the RU486 is the first medication that's used. And then Cytotec is the second medication, and that is used after the baby has died to contract the uterus and cause the mom to dilate the cervix and to expel the baby. So if we can get the progesterone to the moms in time, usually within 72 hours, or if the baby is not too young so that they're more susceptible to the RU486, then for that mom being able to see their child living is just such a blessing.
Tell me about what you know about the chemical abortion, the safety.
So this is a huge deal, and especially because now mail order and pharmacy-based abortion pill distribution is kind of the name of the game, where even in states where abortion is illegal, they have absolutely no way of preventing people from just getting online and purchasing the abortion pill from somebody in another state that then mails it to them through our normal US mail, and then they get it and they can have access to it. This is just such a horrible thing, and because of so many reasons. Number one, most women have such irregular cycles and abnormal bleeding that they have no idea when they've actually conceived this pregnancy. Most of these women have no idea about how painful this procedure is, how bloody this procedure is, the emotional trauma of actually having to deliver your child into the toilet and then having to decide when you see your baby sitting there, do I flush or do I not? These women are picking up these babies and not knowing what to do, fishing them out and putting them in containers and sticking them in their freezer. And so the trauma associated with all aspects of that for these poor women.
So I was told you have a big pro-life story. So what is your story?
Oh, it's a really beautiful story. I was raised in the Catholic faith. I'm a cradle Catholic, but somehow not really engaging in my faith or truly having a personal relationship with Jesus or Mary, and just really not truly understanding or knowing my faith. still attending church, got married in the church, everything. And then 10 years into our marriage, after we had been blessed with Blaze and Xavier, and I was pregnant with Elise, our marriage was really on the brink of divorce. And it was a really challenging time. And God brought all sorts of beautiful people into my life. And suddenly things started really making sense. And I realized that I had these huge God-sized holes that only God was going to be able to fill. And when He filled them, I realized that He was really all I needed to be so happy, so joyful, so at peace. At that time, my husband was uncertain if he even loved me. But it was like, it's okay if you love me or don't love me, because Jesus loves me and I can choose to like you or love you, but you're a bonus. So I can be happy whether or not. But I'm not gonna do anything to dishonor our relationship, because our marriage was with Him as well. And no matter how upset I am with you, I'm not gonna take that out on Him. And so that gave me the ability to really fight for our marriage. And somebody referred me to a book about divorce and its impact on kids. And when I read those pages, I realized that I knew that there was no way that I wanted that for my own children. So I knew, come hell or high water, I needed to fight for our marriage, because I didn't want my children to be children of divorce. And so I just decided to really work on it. And then thanks be to God, God saved our marriage. And so I decided that I needed to do something completely outside of my box in order to pay Him back, in a sense. And I had read Abby Johnson's Unplanned probably about 6 months before all of this started going down. For the first time, I realized that you could offer help and hope and compassion and love to women outside of abortion centers without showing up and being unkind or angry and upset. So I knew just deep in my heart that that was what I needed to do. I needed to go and show up outside of an abortion center. And so the first time that I went to 12th and Locust Planned Parenthood. There was nobody there. So I was totally freaked out. I didn't know if I was gonna get arrested for just standing out there or what was gonna happen. I didn't know what I would say to anybody. So I literally just sat in my car and I prayed a rosary and I just looked at the place. And then I was like, okay, I guess I'll go now. And then I was like, I felt like that was a total cop-out, so I needed to do it again. So then I kept looking and I found out that 777, where you guys went, that they were open on Saturday mornings and people met there at 6 in the morning. So I was like, okay, that's where I'm gonna go. So it was like the midst of a blizzard. And it was, oh my gosh, it was so cold. And I was the first one to show up there. And I just sat in my car and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just sitting in my car again. And then this guy comes up to my window and he's like, bang, 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 bang. And he's like, are you here for an abortion? And I was like, no, I'm here to pray. And he's like, oh, okay, come with me. He was hoping I would be his save. And so then I was like, okay. So I come and I stood out on the sidewalk with him and we started praying. He's like, are you Catholic? I was like, yeah, I'm Catholic. He's like, okay, great. So we started praying the rosary. And then I felt like this is good, but you need to do something more. But watching this line of cars coming and coming, it was never ending. It had to have been at least 30 different women who came that morning. Tears streaming down my face, and I'm just like, please, is there anything that we can do? And finally, there was this one woman who was from Bangladesh, and she and her husband came, and I think she was just shocked to see someone who was brown there. And when she saw me, and I'm like, please, can I talk to you? She didn't speak English, I didn't speak Bengali, and she just, I think was so taken aback that she didn't know what to do. And then, thank God, there was somebody there who was, I think, from a crisis pregnancy center or pregnancy resource center, and talked to her and offered them help, and then that woman chose life.
Wow.
And so everybody celebrating, and it was like, wow, I can't believe this is so amazing. And I was just like, okay, yeah, well, like, isn't this what always happens? Like, you guys show up and pray, people choose life, like.
That's what always happens.
Yeah,
right?
Isn't this what always happens? So I totally didn't realize, number one, the importance of every single life. Like 29 went in and 29 were going to end in the trash that day. But that one life that was saved, now that life would likely go and impact all these other lives, and that life would have the opportunity to have children and grandchildren, and how many lives would now sprout from that life. And it was just like so amazing to think of all of that. And I don't think I'd ever thought of that before. So I'm standing there on the sidewalk, and this one gentleman comes up to me and he's like, "Who are you and what do you do?" And that gentleman was Patrick Stanton. And I was like, I'm a pro-life OBGYN. And he is like, "My pop sent you." And I was like, I don't know who your pop is. Later, like after I went home, I realized, looking him up and everything, that his father was John Stanton, who was the patriarch of the pro-life community in this area. He was just an amazing individual that I never got to meet because he died the night before I got there. So this man every day would go to daily mass, and he would ask Jesus to send a pro-life OBGYN. Pat was right. I mean, like, I showed up that day, and at that time, I really wasn't a pro-life OBGYN. I was just an OBGYN who had realized that abortion was wrong, but at that moment, I was still writing contraceptives. I really wasn't informed. I just knew that I didn't want to participate in abortions, but I had no idea really about how contraceptives are also abortifacients and how participating in all of that stuff is just wrong.
Where should a pro-life movement be putting their time, energy, and effort?
I always tell everybody, when you go out to an abortion center, even if you cannot have a personal encounter where you have a conversation with a single woman who is going in or out, the very fact that you are standing there as a witness is bringing attention to the fact that something bad is happening there and somebody is standing up against it. So that's number one. Number two, as Catholics especially, we have been given the most amazing prayer, the Rosary. This is a weapon that is beyond all other weapons. It's such an amazing thing to be able to show up outside of an abortion center and to pray the Rosary. 100%, it is absolutely worthwhile to have people outside of these abortion centers for every single hour that they're open. At the same time, it is totally worthwhile to support the pregnancy resource centers, because once these women choose life, that's when the real work begins. So there's a lot that needs to be done to support them and to make sure that they understand that we're not just here to get them to the point of viability where they shouldn't be able to do an abortion in that particular state and then we're out. No, we're there to walk with you as long as you're willing to walk with us. God has created each and every one of us with certain gifts and with certain purposes, and He will guide you as to what aspect of the pro-life community you should be engaging in.
What am I not asking you?
I think the most important thing for anybody is finding your relationship with God, for one, because that is the one thing that will fill you so much and give you the strength to accomplish everything that you need to accomplish, whatever His plan is for you. And when you encounter anybody, whether it be somebody who is like actively trying to persecute you, somebody who is, being kind to you, somebody who is on your side or on the other side, always looking at them as a person who is created by God. So we just really need to look past the exterior in all of these people and pray for them and truly attempt to love them, even if they don't want to be loved by us. We just need to keep persisting in that.
I think it's so incredibly important for us to pray and pray and pray for the resources, the people, and for an end to abortion here in our country. Thanks for joining us here in Philadelphia as we continue this pro-life journey. We'll see you next time at prolifetour.com. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.